Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, here we go. Second hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning of August 20th. If you're up and at it, good. You should be. And thanks for hanging out with us here this morning. First hour, we spent talking all Brewers, all baseball, and we'll talk some more Brewers and baseball in the next 3 hours here as the Brewers get set for Game 3 of this series with the Mariners. 1:10 first pitch. Robert Gasser is getting a start for the Crew. You can listen to that game on your radio dials of 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Coverage will begin at about 12:35, about 35 minutes prior. So we got. So we'll get back to that. We've got Jake Bilks joining us at about 8:30. So we need some questions. If you got a hunting, fishing, outdoor related question for Mr. Jake Bilks for our Tailgate Outdoors segment, please text those on over to us at that Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. Packers traveling today to begin traveling today because tomorrow night is game number 2 of the preseason schedule for the Pack. And I think, I don't know, we got Inter Carter joining us here too. I think this is a pivotal game for a lot of players. For some, I should say maybe a lot of players, but for some players. Because at some point, Green Bay's got to prepare some of these players to be the starters. I'm looking at the guards. I'm looking at the corners. I'm looking at, some of those other maybe jobs that are up in like tight end number 2, that sort of thing. Because next week's preseason game, joint practices with the Cardinals, I want Green Bay going into next week with a pretty good idea or a pretty good thought of like who our week 1 starters are going to be. So I think a lot is going to be dependent on how tomorrow night's game goes. Specifically, maybe looking at those guards. They've been rotating a lot. I know Aaron Banks just came back, and I think he's probably going to get a start. But could Burton maybe become the starter? It looks like Jacob Monk might be the other starter. Anthony Belton, is he going to have a chance to reclaim that starting spot? So I think this is as big as a preseason game could probably get, because there's still some jobs up in the air, whether it's for starters or maybe the primary backups here too. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward for tomorrow night's game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch kind of how LaFleur approaches it, especially with the starters entering the game. I know he said something like 30 to 40 plays in the preseason, so it's probably a drive or 2, depending on how long their first drive is. But the one I'm interested in is offensive line too, because Aaron Banks, he's shown he can't stay healthy. He wasn't great when he was healthy, and they're keep talking about how well Jager Burton is playing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Banks is not a week 1 starter. Mm-hmm. That wouldn't surprise me anymore. And I think that for how much you're paying him, that's not great. But at the same time, everybody can use a backup offensive lineman.
Yep.
So it's not the end of the world.
Yep. And I know Kennard is still out. Maybe you're looking at that swing tackle approach. I know they've been asking a lot of Anthony Belton to keep switching positions, but I think with that injury of Kennard, it kind of like, okay, who's your swing tackle? Is it Belton? I don't know what the plan is, to be honest with you. They've had John Williams, who has had a nice camp so far too, but you've got your tackles locked down with Morgan and Tom. You've got your center with Sean Ryan. Monk got a lot of the reps when I was there with the ones along with Aaron Banks, so it looks like Monk is right now the leader for the starting right guard spot. He's also a center by trade too, so we'll see how that kind of plays out. But I would like for them to kind of like, okay, let's roll with this and prepare next week with that leading up to the season with that too, especially with the Cardinals coming in with a joint practice. Kind of gives you a little bit of a better idea of, all right, let's throw what we think our starters are going to be out there. I still think Keyshawn's going to open up week 1 as a starting corner. Brandon Cisse is CB1. That is clearly evident. I don't care what a depth chart says anymore, but like when I was at practice, the only corner that practiced exclusively with the ones every single time was Brandon Cisse. Everybody else rotated with it. He is CB1. Don't care what depth charts say. Don't care what the depth chart says at Packers.com. Brandon is CB1. I think Keyshawn is still going to be CB2, but I think that leash is going to be short. I personally, from what I watched, I liked what I saw from St. Juste. He was a little bit more physical at the point of contact, but I think they're probably going to go with that route. But who knows? What if I think Keyshawn is going to log a lot of snaps against Denver? I don't know Denver's plan. I hope they play Jalen Waddle and some of their receivers. Throw Keyshawn on him and see what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't perform well and Benjamin St. Juste continues to perform well, you got to make the move. Yeah. We're not in a situation, Green Bay's not in a situation where, well, he's been here for a few years and let's give him the benefit. You don't give a benefit of the doubt when it comes to this stuff. You play who the best player is, who legitimately won that job. Yeah. And if it's St. Juste, it's St. Juste. Or if it's, I don't know if Carrington Valentine's going to have enough time to kind of recover from that, but they also know what they got with him too, based off the last couple of years. So there was, I mentioned it yesterday, there was one play that St. Juste was lined up right across from Golden. I mean, probably closer than what me and you were. I'm like, ooh, is he going to do a little bump and run? He planted his butt on the ground. As soon as that ball was snapped, St. Juste planted him on the ground. I was like, okay, I like this physicality. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know if the coaches necessarily liked it at that point because Golden took a little bit to get up, but it was like, okay, I like that.
Well, and that was what Nate Hobbs was supposed to be last year and just couldn't stay healthy. But I think, like you said yesterday, Jonathan Gannon coming in doesn't have bias. So Nixon's got to earn his spot. And Nixon clearly hasn't earned his spot. And to my knowledge, hasn't even been good. I mean, I watched the first drive of the Steelers game. He looked awful. And that may have just been an effort thing. And I still think Nixon, he's probably our second best corner. I really like Cisse, but if he's not going to show the effort or the willingness to tackle, you can't play him.
Yeah.
Because Valentine doesn't tackle either.
No.
So you can't have a corner that doesn't tackle, that's shown that won't work. Mm-hmm. And so especially without Parsons, our pass rush isn't going to be what it was to start the season last year. So you're going to have to tackle and cover longer. And Nixon's not even a great cover corner. But, yeah, I would love to see Cisse and St. Juste as week one starters. Mm-hmm. Like you said, though, I still think Nixon starts week one.
I think he starts week one, and I hope the leash is short. Because the thing I noticed with him watching at least the beginning part of practice when he was really struggling, this was just my thoughts, my opinion on it. I'm not a scout, but just watching him, he looks so flat-footed, and this maybe goes to the effort part where you just mentioned, and he was letting a receiver come to him so close to where, I mean, you let that receiver come in, you're already cooked. Because if you're just like kind of standing there flat-footed and he comes right up to you, that receiver then was burning by him. And then Keyshawn's got to like turn around and try. He kept getting caught chasing too much. Mm-hmm. And that's where his hands got in trouble then because throwing the flag, getting a little handsy on that stuff. He started to clean up. He started to get a little bit more physical towards the end of practice, but it's like, but can you do it 100%? Yeah. Can you do it from beginning to finish?
And you look at last year, the first 5 weeks of the season when Nixon was at his best. I think he learned those habits based on our pass rush because we were so good. They were having to get the ball out quicker so he could jump the slant. He could jump the curl route. Well, our pass rush died, and all of a sudden they can run past him now because we're not getting pressure. And that's why it's going to be so good for him to face off versus Golden because he's not going to catch Golden if he gets by. No. And so Nixon's going to have to learn that without Parsons the first 5 weeks, you're going to have to be able to play the deep ball as well as kind of stop anything in front of you.
Mm-hmm. And he's definitely not a slot guy. He doesn't have that ability to be the slot guy. So, but yeah, I think this is going to be big for him coming up tomorrow. I hope he gets a ton of reps, and he better not complain if he gets a ton of reps.
So is it a punishment if he plays in the preseason?
According to him, it might be. For some players, it actually is a punishment. There was one. I remember this now. Who was this coach or team? It was starters-wise, it was a punishment.
Really?
Where, the more reps you played in a preseason game, that was kind of their punishment. If they did, it was something. I'll have to look it up, see if I can find it. But I remember a few years ago, a coach kind of said it was the more reps they played in preseason, that was kind of their punishment for like the week of practice or something. So I don't know if that's the case or not, but yeah, now that you said that, I remember a coach saying that. But, and Jackson, the other rookie too, finally got back to practice from Alabama.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be enough time. The thing is like, they don't have great depth, but I don't know if he's got enough to maybe make that active roster. Do they go that route? I want to see him get a ton of reps in this game. Mm-hmm. I want to see what he can do because we really haven't seen anything from him so far. And I want to see, he's number 20, and I want to see him out there and getting a ton of opportunities because, gosh darn it, we need a lot of corners.
Yeah, and he was good in college, and when you play in the SEC, you play some of the best receivers. Mm-hmm. So he's got the talent. He's been a 4-year starter at Alabama, so he's got the experience. I really liked that pick, and I think he could be a really good special teams player too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just looking back at his draft profile. Jackson is a smooth athlete with good size and elite track speed. In totality, the play and production have failed to match the traits dating back to his days at USC, but his 2024 tape gives evaluators the best look at his ceiling. He can disrupt from press, but he can be a step slow to transition in phase from man. Tampa 2 and deep zone coverages suit him best. Scheme won't matter as much as consistency and confidence for Jackson, though. So I think you kind of nailed it. His best shot might be the special teams aspect of it. He's got the speed. He's got the size. Mm-hmm. Maybe kind of mold him more into, where he's going to get a lot of reps on special teams to begin with.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and again, when you have cornerbacks with the speed and the talent, you can work with them on the coverage if he's a willing tackler. And just watching him at Alabama, he's a pretty physical corner. So if he can earn the spot on special teams, he could be a starter next year at corner. I mean, you never know how he'll progress, especially with his speed.
Heck, Carrington Valentine was a 7th-round pick.
Exactly.
So that's Green Bay's got a history of having either undrafted or late round picks. Sam Shields, I think, was a 7th rounder, and he was the starting nickel guy for that Super Bowl team his rookie year.
He's my favorite player for a little bit.
Sam Shields was? Yeah. Number 37, man. Mm-hmm. Converted wide receiver.
I didn't know
from
that.
the U, yeah.
Yeah.
He had the speed, though, too. So that's another, if he didn't have so many concussions towards the end of his career, what that could have played out to be. I still think he should be a Packers Hall of Famer someday. Mm-hmm. Too many great plays. So, all right, we got more Packers talk coming your way. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a skosh. When it comes to feeding your family, quality matters, and for great tasting meats, you don't have to look any further than Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. From fresh cuts of beef and pork to delicious brats, steaks, and all of your favorites for the grill, Mike's Star Market brings you the quality and service that you expect from a true local butcher shop. Whether you're firing up the grill, planning a family meal, or stocking up the freezer, stop by Mike's Star Market today and experience the difference of shopping local. Mike's Star Market in Eau Claire. Quality meats, hometown service, and a tradition that you can taste. Hey, since we're speaking of football here, what the heck? My computer just crashed. Since we're speaking football here, don't forget to sign up for our Pro Football Weekly Pick'em Challenge. You can go to our website at sportstalk1051.com. Just scroll down a little bit on the home page, and you'll see the Pro Football, or you'll see the Win Stuff icon. And then once you click on that, you can click on the Pro Football Pick'em Challenge and start to make your picks. A big thanks to Home Oasis and Wisco's for partnering with us for that. At the end of the season, whoever has the right or whoever has the most amount of picks right, you're going to win some gift cards from Wisco's. So again, just head to our website, scroll down a little bit on the home page. You'll see the Win Stuff logo, and then you click on that, the Pro Football Challenge, click on that, bada bing, bada boom, easy to sign up. So since we're talking some football and such, it's a travel day for Green Bay as they set to head to Denver for tomorrow night's preseason game, 8 o'clock kickoff. between the Packers and the Broncos for preseason game number 2. We'll throw it out to the rest of you listeners out there. What is or who is the player that you're maybe looking to watch the most, or the position group that you're looking to watch the most in the second game of the preseason? Joe, who is it for you?
It's got to be the offensive line. You've got Jordan Morgan, of course, at left tackle. There's a battle going on at left guard. Aaron Banks now not able to practice 2 days in a row. Jager Burton, the rookie, playing left guard. You've got Sean Ryan at center. You've got Jacob Monk now playing that right guard position. And you and I talked about this, Dan, that Anthony Belton really is getting reps now at that swing tackle position. And then you have formerly known as Zach Tom at the right tackle. So it's that offensive line group. And I think you've got to see Jacob Monk. You've got to see Aaron Banks playing this game. You've got to see what Jager Burton does. Because I'm going to tell you, Dan, if there are question marks after preseason game number 2 with that offensive line, it is time to look elsewhere. And again, when you've got a team like Green Bay who has Super Bowl aspirations, you need to move before the season starts if you know you have a weakness. And right now, I would say that offensive line is a huge question mark.
Cornerback, obviously, Keyshawn has been a big topic of conversation this week, and Brandon Cisse is clearly CB1 at this point, taking all the reps with the ones. He hasn't even been, practicing with the 2s and the 3s. They've been shuffling in Benjamin St. Juste, Keyshawn Nixon, et cetera. Carrington Valentine now is back at practice. They've been shuttling in there. How big is this game for a guy like Keyshawn Nixon to maybe showcase that he still belongs in that starting lineup?
Yeah, it's big. And again, I thought it was really interesting. Keyshawn Nixon taking a slight and saying he's being punished for having competition. And I loved LaFleur's comment saying, well, everyone on the team then is being punished because we promote competition at almost every position. I also thought it was interesting, Dan, David Bakhtiari speaks up about Keyshawn Nixon, saying he's a borderline 2 or 3 that has return ability. So, yeah, that's another positional group. We talked about the offensive line. The cornerback position is another question mark. And I really love what you're seeing and hearing from Brandon Cisse. I really love what Benjamin St. Juste brings to the table with his length. And so this is one of those opportunities for Keyshawn to step up. Now, I also think it's interesting that reports are out that Green Bay is getting phone calls for Carrington Valentine. And so, again, I don't think Green Bay is in a position of strength there, so I don't see them making a move. But, yeah, that's another positional group that you need to shore up before the season starts to make sure you've got the players in the right position. And, again, going back to Cisse, and I've talked to you about this, he does remind me a lot of Jair Alexander coming out. And again, you see the ability to mirror a wide receiver. You see the ability to flip the hips very quickly. You see the ability to go man or zone. And the other thing is, for his size, I like the physicality. And so, yeah, going back to Keyshawn, it's interesting that he takes competition as a punishment. That tells me that this football team continually needs to grow bottom-up pressure. And bottom-up pressure coming from peers, coming from players playing in that second group or that third group, rather than top-down pressure coming from the coaching staff. So, yeah, another group I'm going to be looking at. And again, I think Green Bay needs to make sure they've got any holes covered. And again, you can't account for injuries in a certain positional group. But going into the season, you need to feel really good about your depth.
Speaking of depth, another one that's going to be tested is the tight end group. Tucker Kraft, I don't know how much he's going to play, if at all, in this second game, but an opportunity for the likes of maybe like a Josh Wiley, who made some nice plays at practice this week. And I mean, I look at that group. There's still some veteran free agents out there. I don't know if they'll make a move, but I mean, somebody can win a job at least from this tight end group, I would imagine, depending on how they perform on Friday night.
Yeah, I have high doubts that you're going to see Luke Musgrave this year.
Yeah, me too.
I just think that ship has sailed. And so I think there are opportunities. You mentioned Josh Wiley. Another guy who's on the ones and twos for special teams is Drake Dabney. So there's a guy that can get a position. I think Green Bay needs to go get one of those veterans. I think 12 personnel is too critical to this offense, and I think Green Bay needs to go get a veteran. And again, Tucker Kraft, they're saying he's going to reset the tight end market. They're saying he's going to be at that $20 million a year mark. And I don't think that's too high. I think he is critical to the success of this football team. And we talked about it last year in that Pittsburgh game, how much the offense clicked with Tucker Kraft playing at a high level. And so I look at Tucker Kraft as really kind of the linchpin of this offense. So, yeah, I think Green Bay, again, I think Goody needs to be looking at an opportunity there to bring in a veteran to shore up 12 personnel, to give Green Bay some options there. Don't get me wrong. I like Josh Wiley in the
like
small
a third
film.
or 4.
Right. Yeah. You know, in some of the film and as a 3 and that type of thing. And I think he brings some things to the table. I don't like him as your number 2 tight end in that 12 personnel. So, yeah, another area where you're going to be looking at building some depth. And really quick, Dan, I want to ask you this, because obviously you were in Green Bay this week. First of all, how cool was that?
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. Very nerve-wracking, but awesome.
Yeah,
awesome experience. So got to get to know a few people over there a little bit more, make some networking stuff, and just I was telling Carter this a little bit earlier. The locker room's actually smaller in person.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
A little bit, like, it looks huge. It's actually a little bit smaller in person than I thought. Still awesome in there.
See, now again, I'm going to go old man on you. Back in the day when I was regularly going to the games and having my press credentials, the locker room was basically the size of Eau Claire Memorial's locker room now. So, I mean, again, and Carter can relate to that, of course. He's laughing over there. So, and Dan, one of the things you said to me is just looking at the size-speed ratio up close to some of these players. Mm-hmm. And so was there anybody that jumped out to you that you saw and said, wow, that guy's a dude?
Van Ness had himself a flippin' day.
Really?
He looks leaner. He looks faster off the edge. I mean, it wasn't just like the from the physicality standpoint. He was beating the tackles off the edge. And
that's good to hear.
Yeah. Colin Oliver is super fast too. And I think he presented a unique challenge because of his size. Mm-hmm. He's that between that edge rusher linebacker, because I know we talked about it last year when he was drafted. It's like, where does he fit in this style of defense? His bend to get underneath those tackles, which I think presents a huge challenge for those big tackles. Mm-hmm. He was super quick off the edge too.
And they're going to need that.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to step up with that outside rusher. So that was super cool. You were there. I thought your reports were great. And when you were talking about some of the players that jumped out, you know, that positional group, when you talk about it, it's that outside backer. Mm-hmm. And we've got to find, and Green Bay needs to see, is Van Ness the guy? And they need to see, can they get something from Brenton Cox Jr.? Is it Sorrell? Is it Dennis Sutton? I mean, who is going to, in the first 5 or 6 games, make up the difference for Micah Parsons? And again, it looks like for sure by the 6th game, maybe the 5th game for him. So again, getting a guy that can make that next step. And look, Van Ness has all of the physical attributes. And again, you look at the Rashawn Gary comparison coming out as far as his college stats, where he played, all of those types of things. And I think that Van Ness has another ceiling. Mm-hmm. I think we haven't seen the ceiling yet for him. And I do think, and I always go back to Parsons, talking about Lucas Van Ness specifically, about a guy that he thinks can be a dude. So we've talked offensive line, we've talked cornerbacks. I think that's that outside backer position. Green Bay needs to find someone to step up, especially during Micah Parsons' absence.
Yeah. So that was cool to see. I mean, Hargrave, that was his first practice. He dominated one-on-ones too. He's not the biggest dude in the world. I was next to him in the locker room, and he's very soft-spoken. Really kind of not the biggest guy. And Trey Smack in pads looks like Carter. Just like when he walked by me, I'm like, is that an 8th grader?
You know what I used to say about Carter? I said Carter looked like Trey Smack in pads.
But bigger without the pads, he looked like too.
Yeah.
So because he was in his lockers next to McKinney's, so everybody was around McKinney, and Trey's like trying to squeak in and get his stuff, and nobody wanted to talk to the kicker. They wanted to talk to McKinney.
You know what? What is he? 16 for 19 since family night.
Yeah, he did miss one that day at practice.
Yeah.
He only kicked twice.
Okay.
He was one of 2.
Okay.
So,
All right. So I'd like to see a kicker going into the season on an upswing rather than going into the season with question marks.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, that's a position Green Bay needs to continually look at. Is that special teams operation? And so there's a lot of question marks on this football team. And when I say question marks, I don't mean, I don't know about this season. It's the difference between being a playoff contender and a Super Bowl contender.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Green Bay is right there. And some of these young guys, it's time for them to step up.
Anybody who coaches special teams probably would have had a lot of fun watching Cam Akord at that practice.
I could only imagine.
Every returner, they were doing a punt return session or a kick return session. Every returner, he was running full bore with them. Like in between the tackles, he was running and yelling at him the whole time. Like, you talk about energy. He wasn't coached from the side. Like, he was literally running with the returner in between all the tackles and blockers.
See, here's the thing. When I look at coaches, it's a generalization, but I think offensive coaches tend to be more cerebral.
Mm-hmm.
I think defensive coaches are just crazy. And I think special teams coaches are actually a mix between the two.
Mm-hmm.
So when I think there needs to be some juice and some passion, but there needs to be the cerebral part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think a special teams coach has both an OC and a DC in him. And so, when I heard about and seen some of the video of him on the sidelines, I mean, how can you not get jazzed as a returner or as a gunner when your coach is running with you on the sideline?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And I think he apparently told Bull Melton, too, I can't say the one word in there. He's like, when he told him that he's going to be running with him, he's like, I'm going to be on your behind.
Yeah, gotcha.
The whole time.
Yeah.
So, and he was with them the whole time, too, just barking at him, too.
Anything else for you jump out to you?
Belton really struggled. So, I mean, kind of talking about going back to what you were saying, he really struggled. I don't know if it's just going back and forth between the guard and the tackle, but he really had a rough day, especially like on one-on-ones. I mean, Butkus and a lot of the assistants were really trying to work with him quite a bit there.
Is it feet? Is it hands? What is it with him?
It looks like it's feet mostly.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because he's getting constantly beat. I don't think it's the physicality. It's the feet.
Okay.
The footwork.
So it's technique from a standpoint. Okay.
Yep. And then, I mean, Tucker Kraft's a dude. He's just a dude.
Yeah.
I think between him and Zaire Franklin getting into it and bringing that energy was, you could tell Tucker. I mean, there was a few times too where like, ooh, he is lowering that shoulder, bringing the physicality to practice. So you could tell that he's ready to get back on an actual game.
I can't. He's truly become one of my favorite Packers.
Mm-hmm.
And again, going back to it, I don't think $20 million is too much for him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. No. And I think it gets done probably within the next week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see Tucker Kraft starting game one without a new contract.
I would agree with you. And I think that it goes back to what he said a couple of years ago after that playoff loss. We got to wake up. I got to be more of a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Actions speak louder than words. He has every excuse in the book to be sitting out right now.
Right.
And he's out there because he wants to be that leader. I mean, he's doing what he said he was going to be doing.
And you mentioned Franklin, and I think he's another dog.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a guy that's been brought in not only from what he brings to the field, but what he brings to the locker room.
Yep.
And so anything that you saw change your point of view or your opinion of this football team?
I am actually, even with the corners, I feel a little bit better about this defense without Micah Parsons.
Okay.
Just to see the way they were flying around and moving around. Lucas Van Ness is a big reason for that. The defensive line, with how they were able to put that pressure on him, I actually feel a little bit better about this defense.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So, in other words, I can go ahead and roll with my bet for Green Bay in the Super Bowl?
Why wouldn't you anyways?
Well,
it should be the bet every year.
It is the bet every year, but I can put more money on it now.
Probably.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I'm going to tell my wife that second mortgage is now being put on the Packers this year.
There you go. Matthew Golden is going to be a dude.
Okay, you liked him? Okay. What stood out?
His route running.
Okay.
The way he is so smooth in and out was every receiver should watch that guy. You talk about route running like Jerry Rice. I'm not comparing him to Jerry Rice, but Jerry Rice was not the fastest, the biggest, but it was his route running. Matthew Golden and his route running was wow.
So I always thought Devontae was, towards the end of his Green Bay tenure, was picturesque in his route running. Comparisons there?
I think Devontae is better off the line with the footwork.
Okay.
It's just the angles, the crispness that he gets off that line.
Okay.
It was just, and he had 7 catches in that practice and those one-on-ones.
He sounds like a young Carter Jaeger.
Yeah. That's high praise, man. Don't you have a Golden jersey?
I do.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Doesn't Matthew Golden have a Jaeger jersey?
He should.
He should. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get a Jagger Burton one, but maybe have Jagger on the back.
Yeah.
I was told at Memorial, I look like Devontae Adams, so, just that burst.
You have to grow your hair a little longer to get
the route running.
Who told you that?
Nobody.
Okay, just checking. Just checking.
I talked in the mirror.
Awesome.
Well, I got to tell you, Dan, congrats. It was good stuff. It was a great week seeing your stuff, and it's just awesome that you got a chance to be there.
I just want the T-shirts printed with Matt LaFleur's face on there with the smirk saying, "That's a great question." I wish he would have said, "That's a great question, Dan."
You and Matt are like this now. You guys are tight.
He's probably wondering who the heck is that guy. Same reaction Goody probably had, and like, who's that dude on the left? So
you know what? I got to tell you, you know your stuff, and you can ask the questions of the pros because you're a true pro.
I appreciate that, sir. Hey, best of luck tonight.
Thank you.
High school football season kicks off. So.
High school football season.
New Richmond?
Yep. The 6th ranked team in the state. You know
Hey,
what?
It's a good test right away,
if you're going to start off with a test, start off high.
Yep.
So the kids feel good. We had a great practice last night. We had a great team dinner last night. Carter, we're no longer using last year's vendor. We had Mancino's last night, so that was wonderful. But yeah, no, I hate Thursday night games to kick off the season. I hate it.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, there's nothing like Friday Night Lights. Absolutely nothing like it. As a player, as a dad, as a coach, nothing like it.
Absolutely. So, hey, appreciate it, dude.
All right, Dan, take care.
Man.
Carter, good seeing you, brother.
Yeah, you too.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with plenty more coming up after these few words. When your vehicle needs attention, make it easy on yourself. Trust the team at AJM Automotive in Eau Claire with 2 convenient locations. AJM makes taking care of your car, truck, or SUV super simple. Need service? Scheduling an appointment is quick and easy. Just visit AJMAutomotiveServices.com and book online when it works for you. And if the unexpected happens and you're stuck on the side of the road, AJM's towing service is there to help get you and your vehicle where you need to go. From routine maintenance to unexpected repairs, AJM's Automotive Services is your local partner for honest, dependable auto care. 2 Eau Claire locations, easy online scheduling, trusted service when you need it the most. That's AJM Automotive. So we got to take another break before the top of the hour. We're running a little behind. That's okay. We get to control when we do breaks and such. So thank you. We got a couple questions for Jake Boakes, conservation warden for the great state of Wisconsin. So continue to send those. This is like your third to last call. You got to text those on over so we can get those on over to Jake, who will join us at 8:30 here this morning. But Packers again, talk a little bit about preseason game number 2. Matt Schneidman from The Athletic listed his 5 players to watch. He's got Brenton Cox Jr., Kamal Hayden, who has really gotten some more attention here, especially in that nickel role. So that's going to be somebody to kind of pay attention to. And I know Matt LaFleur earlier this week sung his praises as well. So might want to watch him. And honestly, when I was at practice, there was a guy out there. So when you go in for media, they ask if you want a roster sheet. And I'm like, yeah, I'll take roster sheet, because they actually list on there too at what periods you can record, which isn't much. So for anybody who like maybe complains online to Twitter to the reporters who don't like record video, literally there was 1.5 periods where we could record video. And they got people going around making sure, like there's somebody that's walking around with a sign saying when you can record and when you can't. And when you're caught recording, you get yelled at. So there was only, like I say 1.5 because on the sheet it said periods 2 and 3. I think they skipped 3 because that's where a lot of people started to get yelled at because it went from 2 to 4. They listed on the scoreboard, like what period.
Okay.
I swear they skipped 3. Maybe they forgot to switch it from 2 to 3 at one point, but it went from 2 to 4. And I'm like, I'm just going to be safe because it looked like they started to do team stuff, and that was the big one.
Okay.
And sure enough, there's like people were getting yelled at. So like it's very secret, very top secret there. So, But my point being was like, man, 36 is out there a lot. It was, come on. Hey, and so I'm like, oh, glad that. Jonathan Ford, he's got Jager Burton and Michael Sturdivant, the wide receiver. So Savion Williams made a sweet catch right in front of us on that sideline. So hopefully he gets some opportunities too. But I'm really kind of curious to see how the back end of that wide receiver group works out. Mm-hmm. Because I think we know the 4, maybe even 5 if you add Sky Moore. Do they carry another one on top of that? Because it's Watson, it's Reed, it's Golden, it's Savion. If you throw Sky Moore in there, I think they carry one more. So maybe that's kind of open.
I mean, Goody even said they could carry 7. Yeah. They've done it before. They're not going to keep 7 throughout the season, but
no.
I really like Sturdivant just because of his speed and his catch radius. Mm-hmm. Really good at Florida.
Yep.
But Nayer's been making plays, so
yep.
It's weird because their back end wide receiving room like seems to be making some plays.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Exactly. And then you got Shepard that's over there too.
Yeah.
So
that
might be something to kind of watch for the back end sort of thing. I think 2 running backs. Chris Brooks had a couple nice runs. Actually had a nice kick return in practice. He might be number 3, but I mean, does Pierre Strong make a case? The Josh Jacobs situation is still up in the air. He was definitely the biggest trash talker on the sideline. So when they did teams versus offense versus defense was on the other side where the fans were, so the offensive sideline was right in front of us. You could hear his voice throughout everybody, just going up and down and trash talking. And I mean, he was in a good mood. Hopefully that means he's not going to miss any time. So
I hope so. I've heard great things about Damian Martinez, another running back. So they've got some options at the back end of both wide receiver and running back rooms.
They do. So, all right, we got to take a quick break as we wrap up the second hour before we get into the third hour. Coming up in the third hour, we'll kick it off with a little 3 up and 3 down. What are some 3 things that are rising up? What are some 3 things that are maybe falling down? We'll take a quick break and wrap up the second hour after these quick words. Looking for your next great night out? Well, make it the VFW Post 305 in Eau Claire with live music, exciting events happening throughout the month, great food, cold drinks, and a fun, welcoming atmosphere. There is always a reason to stop by. Whether you're meeting up with friends or looking for something fun to do, the VFW Post 305 has something for everyone. Make sure you follow the VFW Post 305 on Facebook to stay up to date on all their latest events and entertainment. There's always something fun going on at the VFW Post 305, located 1300 Star Avenue in Eau Claire. I didn't realize it until yesterday when somebody mentioned it. Yesterday is 3 weeks for the start of the NFL season, so we were officially under 3 weeks. Because I keep forgetting they're doing it on a Wednesday night this year.
Yeah, which is so dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is.
Honestly, it's our fault, though, as fans, because we eat
That's
it up.
very true. We'll watch it any time of the day, but they should have just stayed Thursday.
Well, it's like Seattle doesn't even open up the season then.
Yeah.
Like, that's supposed to be the game that opens up the season, right? The defending champions.
It's a Super Bowl rematch, too.
Yeah. So I agree with you. Wednesday night, no, I don't like it. But yeah, less than 3 weeks, baby. So I guess 3 weeks from today is another football game. I guess we could say when Seattle opens it up. So, but yeah, kind of weird.
Guess what? 3 weeks from tomorrow is another one.
You're right. You're right. College football though starts what? next week already, I think. Week 0? Is it week 0? Because I think
Two
North Carolina is, let me bring it up. August 29th, yeah, next week.
Wow.
College football, North Carolina, TCU. You got USC, San Jose State. So
the Badgers play a week from Sunday? No. 2 weeks from Sunday because they don't play week 0.
Right. Yep. They play
week 1 like normal teams.
Exactly. I hate week 0 stuff.
So
That's
dumb.
So ridiculous. Like what? There's no such thing as week 0. There's no such thing as week 0. Nothing.
Yeah.
But anyways, college football begins a week from, I think when does, let me double check for like WIAC schedule here. So like the Blue Golds, they will open up on September 5th too. So that's a normal weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, just a couple minutes left to the top. So we've got some 3 Up, 3 Down coming up in the next hour. We'll kick off with that. Then we'll get back to some more baseball talk. We've got Brewers back in action this afternoon, just a few hours from now. 1:10 is first pitch for the Crew. So we'll take a look at that game. Looking for a series win. We'll get back to some more football talk. Who are you going to be following or paying attention to the most for preseason game numero 2 tomorrow against the Denver Broncos? Nobody's really mentioned it, and I know it's a preseason game. But last year, Denver's when the season fell apart for Green Bay with all those injuries. Micah, Zach Tom, or was it Elton J? Zach Tom had the injury in that game too. That's when it all fell apart for Green Bay. So bad memories in Green Bay. Let's just get in and get out with no injuries in Denver. I don't care about wins or losses. Let's get in, get some good work, get the heck out of Dodge.
Yes.
So I do want to bring something up here. I'll do it in the next hour because I'm running out of time here. But we're getting at that point in time where you got some people or some media outlets doing some projections. And The Athletic did the AFC one. And it's kind of questionable at best, I think. So we'll hit that up. I don't know if they've released the NFC one. I'll take a look here in a second, but we'll hit that up coming up in the next hour here too. So I don't want to do projections yet because there's so much that could happen in the next 2 games. That's why I think projections right now and win-loss predictions, pointless because it could change in a dime. Oh, they do have the NFC
3 hours ago.
All right. So we'll hit that up here too. So, all right. Got some news updates coming up here. We're at halftime. We'll kick off the third quarter with a little 3 up and 3 down. Second to final call for any questions for Mr. Jake Boakes, our DNR warden friend who's joining us at the bottom of the hour. We'll be back after these quick news updates from Miss Morgan and the 715 newsroom.